My name is Joe Clark. I am the president of the Fair Eastside High School. No, Lean on Me, very famous movie. Sometimes it feels like that's particularly what is occurring in Sunnyside. My name is Everett Hare Sr. I am the proud principal at Worthing Early College High School now. And I love the opportunity to tell my story. I love to share how I actually became a principal. I was minding my business during the summer of 2015. Had finished as the summer school coordinator. Really was just enjoying some time with my kids, getting ready to go swimming. And my principal at that particular time called me and said, hey, the school support officer is here in my office and wants to come and talk with you. And I was like, I have on a tank top, some swimming shorts, like, it's probably not the best time. He said, don't worry about it, come on in. We need to have a conversation. So, talked the kids into, hey, let's go make a quick trip, and from there, we'll finish up the swimming piece afterwards. Get to the school. As soon as I get in, get the kids kind of situated, he looks at me dead in the eyes and says, you're being complacent. And I said, what? Like, I feel attacked. What do you mean complacent? He said, with your skill set, with what you do with this community, you're not really achieving your goals and your talent. And I said, okay. And then he says, you know what? It's time to make you a principal. And I looked to my son, and he's giving me that look like, Dad, you said we were going swimming. This has nothing to do with the swimming part of it. So I said, okay, I think I'm ready for the challenge. Let's kind of see how this works, right? So the rest of the summer, we go through kind of a grooming process, understanding just some administrative duties and elements that I needed to learn. Went to a couple interviews, was in alignment for actually a campus in Acres Homes, and got through the interview process with the committee. When we finish up, the feedback that I received was, man, Mr. Hare is really on point. He has some really great initiatives and actions, but he looks really young. And I was like, again, I don't know, I can grow out the beard, I can make myself look a little older, but if you're looking for somebody that doesn't necessarily look like me, I don't know how I can transform myself like that. Had another interview for another campus. Again, loved everything that Mr. Hare brings to the table. We think this might be the right person to be the principal. This was more in Fifth Ward. And about 24 hours later, the superintendent at that particular time placed somebody at that school and said, hey, this is a direct appointment. I know Mr. Hare is in waiting, but let's go ahead and make this move happen. So a little discouraged, but hey, keep moving. Start the school year off. Here comes my school support officer again. All right, so I know we were working on the whole principal thing, but there's a school over in the Sunnyside area that really needs your help. And I said, I've heard this before. And so he begins to tell me about this elementary campus that has had 4 different principals in 4 years, that has went through like a lot of tumultuous problems, and ultimately really just needed a strong leader to come in. He offered me the opportunity to come in as the assistant principal. He said, there's a first-year principal that's going in. She's going to need your help, and you know what to do and help get that school on track. I said, okay, I'll check it out. My current principal that I had at that time was like, don't do it, it's a trap. So I'm getting feedback. I'm calling people that I know in the district and the mentors, and everybody's like, I don't know about that one, E. Like, that's a rough neighborhood. It's pretty tough over there. And I'm like, well, I mean, I'm up to whatever challenge, occurs. So let me go ahead and give this a shot. When I got over there, it was everything that people had described, right? It was a culture of students just walking out of classrooms. This was an elementary campus. It was a culture of suspensions. I think they were at 223 over a 3 or 4 year period. It was a culture of teachers that didn't particularly give the best effort for the students. And so for me, like the meme with the Michael Jordan thing, I took it personal, right? So I go in, and I'm the workhorse. I'm taking care of discipline. I got kids on one arm. I'm trying to direct teachers and help them with their instructional value on another arm. I'm in meetings here and there. This is before Zoom and Team, but literally popping in, giving my advice, and then running to go break up a fight. My welcome to Sunnyside was unlike no other, right? Because the more things that occurred in the Sunnyside area, I think people didn't necessarily know was actually occurring. And I took it upon myself to really just stay optimistic, have a positive mindset, and just continue to push forward for those kids in that particular area. Things got a little bit tougher. So that first year of principal had some personal issues that was going on. And ultimately, they decided, hey, it's time to go ahead and pull the trigger and make a change. At one particular moment, I was the assistant principal, the testing coordinator, the discipline administrator, the LPAC administrator, the GT administrator, appraised 40 teachers on the campus. It was a mess. And openly, transparently understanding, it took a lot out of me. I went through some health issues. I went through even a divorce. But I pulled everything together to make sure that the teachers and the students really got what they deserved. And in 1 year, we were able to transform that particular school from a multi-year improvement required campus to at least an acceptable campus at that particular moment. Now, that was the shining light, right? At the time, the amazing Dr. Grenita Lathan was the chief school officer, and she said, Hare, you've been holding it down. We appreciate what you're doing. It's time for you to officially become the principal of this school, right? And at this moment, I'm thinking, okay, great. Now we're stepping into this role. It's going to be an amazing experience, and hey, no more worries. More and more, I learned about the culture of Sunnyside as well. And that first year, they give you like a principal's, not so much a manual, but they give you like a book that says, hey, here's some guidance and reference for you to take into account. The students and community of Sunnyside go through so many different things that I don't think people really realize. For example, if you ever drive down Belfort in the Sunnyside area sometimes, you might see some unusual things, right? My first experience, there was a dead horse laying in the median. A horse. I said, what part of old McDonald's farm is this? Like, okay. I'm looking through my principal manuals, like there's nothing here in terms of guidance, so I'm just telling the kids, hey, just keep on coming to school. We're going to make sure that horse gets removed out of here, right? There were some individuals that live in there that are, involved in crime and drugs and things like that. Saturday tutorials, coming in to help my teachers, give them some empowerment pieces, and literally, there's a guy standing on our roof of the school. I didn't know who he was, but I was like, hey, sir, you got to come on down. This is a school. You can't be up there, etc. This is a two-story building. This individual jumped down from the two-story building, and he stumbled, but he kept walking and just literally walked across the street like nothing had occurred. And I was like, let me go back to this manual, see what's in here. People on the roof, using whatever they got. So it was a lot of those different types of experiences. Internally, we had to make sure the culture started to change. Remember I told you there were students that felt like when I don't like what's going on in this classroom, I just walk out. I just curse at this teacher. I just do whatever it takes because I'm used to the actions of when I don't get my way, I'm going to act out, and then I'm going to get to go home for 3 days. So I started to adjust what those consequences kind of meant, right? In talking with some of those parents, I had conversations that said, nope, I'm not sending these kids home. What I am doing is I'm asking you to come in and help with your student. And sometimes the parents were like, oh, I'm not going to give my time at that school. I'm going to go ahead and let that go. You better get in that room and act like you know how to act, right? That kind of changed the perceptions there. We looked through different elements that would help uplift the campus. And over a time of 3 or 4 years from there, we were able to earn some distinctions, earn some academic achievements, developed a great team, had a great dean, and just really changed the whole culture. Talked with different colleges, specifically Texas Southern University, Prairie View, and got some educators that were fresh out of college that really wanted to make an impact in the Sunnyside community. And that was what helped in terms of changing, that empowerment piece for them. We went to a conference, and I'll never forget this. Somebody had a shirt, and they were selling them, and I really appreciated it because it said, "Put your trust in God, everybody else needs data." I was like, yeah, that's exactly the mantra we're going to have here, right? Utilizing the data to drive and make those instructions happen. Pandemic comes, it's 2020. Dr. Lathan at this time is the superintendent. She gives me a call and says, "Hey, you're doing amazing. Let's send you to high school." Huh? What? I'm at home on this Teams meeting like I'm minding my business again, right? And, hey, let's make this change. I want you to go in and replicate what you're doing there. The amazing Dr. Kalila Campbell, who's going to be coming up, is doing some wonderful things, but she's got another trajectory, and it's time for you to go make that happen at the high school level. And I thought about the upside of it, right? Because it really helped me knowing the community, but knowing it from the elementary side and now being able to see it from the high school side of it was a very much challenge that I really wanted to take on. Seeing kids that were at an elementary level, building those foundations, and now getting the opportunity to see them walk across the stage at the high school, that is true fulfillment when it comes to education. A couple things that helps to lead and make it an effective leadership and team with our teachers and staff. One is having the presence, always being present, thinking about how you can help alleviate situations that may arise before they even happen. As a leader, you can help people by telling them exactly what to do, right? People want the principal to tell them exactly what to do. But when you ask the right questions and help them change their mindsets, that's what helps push them to the next level. Consistency. That first year when I was a principal, we took a picture, right? And several first-year principals, first or second-year principals, and I remember this vividly because we had to do a little performance. We did the South Side. We was right in front of the superintendent and everybody at that time frame. I looked up a year and a half later, and all the principals that were in that picture were no longer there. And so I made it a point to say consistency is extremely important because the kids need that. In the Sunnyside area, they're used to changes, but they need that consistency of a leader to be present. The next part of it was the resiliency. Some of my kids have lived the life of a 75-year-old individual within 13 to 14 years. They have seen it all, they've lived through it all, they've dodged it all. But they build up their resiliency because of those elements. And it's our opportunity to make sure that we give them every exposure piece to see the world, to see the ceilings outside of the Sunnyside area. You never forget where you come from. You always have that pride, that passion, that tradition, that culture. But it is important for you to see the great world that's out there. The last thing that I think about is the collective efficacy. With my teachers, they hear me kind of speak to this a lot, and it's the collaborative piece of being a problem solver and getting the job done. For myself and for my staff and my students, to me, that's extremely important because knowing that everybody works together in cohesiveness is the key to success. Once you kind of hit those elements and you start to see things running full cycle, it becomes an amazing, amazing experience. So, as a kid just from Brooklyn that went into Sunnyside, learned the culture, and helped to make it become the success it is today, I was listening to the Breakfast Club this morning. P. Diddy was on there. And I always think about his efforts when he tells people, "I thought I told you that we won't stop. I thought I told you that we won't stop." That's exactly how we're going to do this in Sunnyside. And so, as an effective leader that continues to have those strive and show up every single day for those kids, we always reach out for the supports of the community and make sure that people really have pride in Sunnyside. Thank you all.